Coach, this has been probably one of the most competitive training camps you've had. In saying that, was this process a little more difficult than it has been over the last few years?
They're always difficult. There's guys that sometimes are deserving to make the team, and just the way the numbers fall, the position falls, it doesn't work out that way. And obviously, we'll see how the practice squad shakes out. But there was a lot of competitive spots and some tough choices we had to make.
Thank you.
Zac, the decision to keep only 8 offensive linemen, does that mean you think you can pick up a couple others that are on the waiver wire?
I think we're just always going to look to better our team any way we can and feel good about where it fell for us right now. But again, I know Duke and those guys are actively working and always evaluating and seeing any way we can improve our roster.
Zac, what about the defensive line? Obviously, it was a very competitive camp in that regard. Howard Cross making the team. Can you address your decision to go with 6 defensive tackles and the 6 edges?
Yeah, I think it was important to keep depth there. As you remember early in last season, we went through that depth pretty quickly. So I think if there's a spot to go heavy, sometimes it's in those areas. And so that helped us in our decision there.
Zac, what went into your and Darren's decision to move on from Cal and change things up at long snapper?
Really hard decision. Both those guys I thought put forward their best all training camp. And that's what I told Cal is this wasn't a matter of somebody losing the competition. It was we got the best out of both those guys. Ultimately, we decided to go with Will. But I thought Cal had a really strong camp as well. And, there's a chance he ends up somewhere else, I'm sure.
Two-part question. First, where are you guys at in the right guard battle? And then Jalen Rivers, do you see him playing guard tackle now? Obviously, you've got some backup guard options on the tackle. I guess Cody's your only backup tackle right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't say ready to make any announcement there, but still feel good about where we're at. Jalen, I think, has only gotten better as camp has gone on. And, he's worked mostly at right guard here recently. So I think that's for right now, that's been a great place for him. And so we'll just continue to assess where we're at through the week and then maybe make more declarations as the week gets by us.
5 tight ends. It looked like Grandy and Hudson just flat out played well enough to make it.
Yeah, they both earned a spot. They both have value on our team, and we feel like we can utilize those guys in different ways. And so, again, I thought both those guys had really good camps for us, good preseason games, and earned the opportunity to be on the 53. And so excited to have both those guys.
Zac, do you feel like you've got your starting right guard on the roster currently?
Yeah, I feel good about the progress those guys have made and our confidence and all those guys that have been in there competing. And so we'll just see how it shakes out.
Zac, any update on Jermaine Burton's injury?
He'll just continue to be day-to-day right now.
How does putting Dejon on IR test your depth at safety?
Yeah, I think PJ Jules had a really good camp, and so the opportunity for him to be up there and try to help us on the 53 on special teams, safety, however it shakes out, I think he's earned that opportunity. And so Dejon, he'll be out for the first 4 weeks, and then we'll go from there. But I thought that was really good competition, in that room, and this is the way it sorted out for us.
What did Mitch Tinsley show you this summer?
Just really, day by day, just proved himself as someone who has again earned a spot, earned the trust. It's such a difficult deal for a guy in his position, quite frankly. A guy that we signed early in the spring, late winter. It wasn't like we drafted him. Wasn't like we went in free agency and signed him some big deal. He just quietly earned our confidence. Coaching staff, Joe, Jake, the quarterbacks in the room, and that's a hard thing to do. It's we don't have a system, here in year 7 where you can just walk in the door and right away, hey, here I am. I'm going to compete. I know everything. And he obviously studied on his own. I think Troy did a great job with him. And every time his number was called, he earned the trust of everybody around him, and he continued to make plays, and he's worked really hard at his craft, and we feel like he's going to be able to help us this season. And so, again, credit to him for this summer and the training camp he put together.
Zach,
Zach,
the
what
other
about
day
the?
you praised you.
Go ahead, Mike, and then I'll get you, James. Go ahead, Mike.
Zach, I just wanted to ask you about the linebacker room. Shaka Hayward making it for the first time at this juncture, cut down day. How significant is that for him? And why or how difficult was the decision to move on from Joe Giles Harris and Muma?
Very difficult. I think that room, a lot of depth was created there. I think all those guys had really good camps, earned opportunity. Shaka, like you said, he's been on the practice squad here for a couple of years now, and I thought just over the course of the spring and training camp, he's earned an opportunity and played well in the preseason game, and so excited for Shaka to get this moment and this opportunity. Again, similar to what I said about long snapper, it wasn't a matter of guys having poor performances and being left off. We just felt like we have a lot of depth in that room, and those guys all competed and put their best foot forward, and this is just how it shook out for us.
It was great minds there, Zach, because me and Trags were both going to ask you about Shaka. But let me ask you about the offensive line. Obviously, you have 8. You're going to be looking at the waiver wire over the next 24 hours or so. When you do that, just in general, how do you balance youth and upside versus guys that might be available that are more proven?
Yeah, it's a case by case basis. You'll see whether it's that spot or any other spot. Who can help us quickly? Who can help us long term? How do they match with the guys we already have on the roster, on the practice squad? And so those are decisions we'll continue to talk through. If Duke and his staff present us with options to talk through, those are things we'll do before noon tomorrow and come to the best decision for the Bengals.
Zach, we saw that Trey got his deal restructured yesterday, or I guess renegotiated. How big was that to get that done now with still roughly 2 weeks away before that opener?
Yeah, I think it's just great peace of mind, not only for us but for him, to know what the situation is. We're good to go, and so now he's obviously been around a lot, particularly after practice yesterday, today, getting ready to go. Now he's been in the meetings all along, and he's been a guy who's really been showing up early for the meetings and had questions, and so he's been mentally preparing all along for that. I think now it's just okay, it solidifies it that we're ready to go, and so look forward to getting him on the practice field. I don't know if our scout team tackles yet know what they're in for, but it'll be good to get him out there and get him to work this week, and then we can get into our Cleveland prep next week.
So he hasn't practiced yet, correct?
He has not practiced yet, no.
Just to follow up on that, as I know as the head coach, you don't allow yourself to really think what could go wrong and you stay more on the day-to-day basis. But if you go back to, when the season ended, there's so much talk externally about the star players you guys had and their contract situations. And there's a lot of people that thought that you guys might not be able to get all 3 under contract for this season. How proud are you of the organization that you guys were able to get through those, even though sometimes it was ugly, and that you have all 3 of those guys for this upcoming season and that contract stuff is behind you?
Yeah, balancing a lot of talented players is not easy, especially when it's time for them to get paid. And I don't think our organization gets enough credit for how they balance all this, how they handle it. It's not simple. No one in that situation can handle it very simply. And so, again, proud of everyone upstairs for just putting their heads down and continuing to let it work and working it out, and the players for coming together with us and making sure it all gets done. And so, again, there's a lot of credit to be had upstairs with ownership, with Duke and his crew, and Steve and Trey and those guys who've been working on these contracts as well, and Potts. And so, those people all deserve a ton of credit. And I'm thankful that we were able to get some really big deals done with some of the best players on planet Earth and allow us to go forward and have a great 2025 season. And I'm sure it's been fun talking fodder for people over the last 9 months, but we got it done, and proud of our organization for getting it done.
Did you have a sense of confidence, Zach, it would eventually work itself out in the team's favor? Yeah,
I've got confidence because we got really intelligent people who want us to have a great team and they want to work it out. I am smart enough to know nothing's ever set in stone and you can't assume anything, but I know that everybody had the right intent to get it done, and I'm thankful that we got it done.
Do you have a feel for kind of physically what Hendrickson's going to be ready to do week 1 in terms of football shape and snaps and all that kind of stuff?
He isn't now. Putting the pads on and hitting someone's different, but I can promise you he's in shape.
Coach, when you look at Trey Hendrickson as a embodiment of the kind of players you want, while this was all going on, he was constantly working with the young guys, constantly talking, teaching, tutoring. How much did that mean to you that he still leaned into helping while this was working itself out?
Yeah, I think since he arrived in training camp, he's invested in the players around him, and he's got a lot of knowledge he wants to pass down. I think that he said that to me multiple times, just about the Cam Jordans of the world and what they gave to him, and so now he's got a chance to repay the favor with some of these young guys that we have, and he wants us to have a great season, obviously, and so in order for that to happen, he's going to have to help Jerry bring some of these guys along as well, and because we're counting on all these D linemen, the veterans, the young guys, everybody's got to play a part in this.
Thank you.
Zach, what was it like to have a normal training camp for Joe, which I think it's probably safe to say the first time in his career, aside from maybe the COVID year? What's it like having just a normal offseason with your quarterback?
Yeah, it's not something you really think about as you're going through it until you get asked a question like this, but it was great. It was when you're starting quarterbacks out there every day and you get to continue to evolve as an offense and, okay, this thing's working better than maybe we thought it was going to work. This thing's maybe something we thought we were going to invest in that we're not going to spend as much time on. So I think that he's done a great job leading the offense. He's looked really sharp. He's allowed us to really see where our offense is at, 13 days before game, 12 days before game. And so it's been a really productive training camp because of that. And, happy that we've stayed healthy, as a team.
Along those lines, I mean, you've had him, T, and Jamar working with each other all offseason and now all training camp. What does that do for y'all as an offense when you've had them, all in the fold for so long, getting ready for that season opener?
It's good. It's anytime you can have all your weapons available, and we like to think that we can put pressure on teams, and we've got tremendous players, and anytime that they can be healthy and walk on the field together and continue to put that stress on the other team, it gives us a lot of confidence as a team. And so I'm excited to get to work and get ready for Cleveland.
Did you feel like the early morning practices and just the overall training camp gave you a different feel heading into the season that could maybe help you guys in September like you were looking for, or it's too early to gauge that?
Yeah, I think it's hard for me. I really like how it all played out for us. I thought that we got tremendous work in. I really did like the schedule. I think the players would echo that. And so I feel like we're in really good position here with 2 extra practices here in the next couple of days before we get into next week. I really like where we're at. I feel like we got all the necessary work in. I think it was the right decision this year to not have joint practices with anybody. I think that as a whole, with the first year defensive staff together, we're at the right place for where we need to be this year. And I feel really good about how everything fell into place for us.
Zach, do you have a feel for who the starting corners are, or do you still view that as a battle that you want to continue to roll out into week 1 almost?
No, I do. I got a feel for it. Nothing I feel like I need to announce or set in stone, but I feel really good overall about all 6 of those corners we kept. I think that they've all had their moments in training camp, that they've proven that they can all really help us win games. We have a great feel for how to play out week 1 at Cleveland. But again, there's going to be roles for a lot of guys. Everybody's earned opportunity. It's another position where guys have really earned opportunity. And so we need to provide that opportunity for them because they can all help us win. And, some guys may be better matchups versus some teams you face. I think that we've got a wide variety of the skill set that we have in that room. And Chuck's done a great job with those guys.
Zach, what was it like at practice today, having Trey out there, having it all done and dusted? I think it's the first time in a while that it's kind of not had any contract things lingering over. What's it been like kind of having that today at practice going into this week?
We did not practice today, so I can't answer you there. Today, I usually just don't practice on the Tuesday we have cuts. So we had a practice yesterday. The deal wasn't done yet. Players are off today, and we'll be back in tomorrow.
That's what I thought. You had mentioned it earlier, so I was just checking bases. So
did I mention practice today earlier?
I thought it sounded like yes. I believe you did earlier. I could be wrong. So
we'll provide a transcript. I will say for number one, I like it more in person than the Zoom that we got going on right now. It's a lot easier for me to hear when you guys are sitting right in front of me.
Zach, procedurally, was this the first year you guys could keep 2 players on IR through cut or before cut down day? or did that happen last year?
I can't remember. I can go back and look at my notes. I honestly cannot remember. That's something I had to review personally a couple of weeks ago as we were in this training camp. So I knew that we were able to do that this year. Obviously, Duke's always on top of that. I cannot remember if that was in place this June or the previous June, I think is when it was set.
Zach, I know the personnel guys are working hard over this point in time to figure out tomorrow. Do they come to you? What's your role in the stuff over the next, putting in waiver claims, guys you might know? What is that like for you?
Yeah, there's time. They do the brunt of the work. Absolutely. And then very similar to draft, the coaches supplement that. So if they got guys they want to get a feel for, get the coach's opinion on, they'll give them to us, probably tomorrow morning once the dust settles a little bit more. That's why we start later tomorrow with our own players. Just previous experience has told us to do that so that we can evaluate whoever we need to evaluate. So it's a great system in place. I mean, we got those guys do a great job letting us know. We see them at all hours of the day. So we're usually on the same page there.
Was there a player whose reaction stood out to you when you told them that they were on the team and they were here to stay?
Well, I let the position coaches generally handle that. So when there's a player that I have a sense is probably feels like they're on the border, I let the position coach call them to let them take that pressure off, sometime early in the morning. There's probably some players that I assumed would know and they don't, and they still have that angst, even at 4:00. But, even just telling a guy that there's a practice squad spot available for him tomorrow, obviously the dust has got to settle, but guys that, hey, we would like you back on the practice squad. Sometimes delivering that news to a guy, even after you're releasing them is really encouraging for them because of, they know now there's such a quick opportunity to get active and play with the standard elevation or the way that you can swap players now. So even that news, that's more the news that sometimes I deliver. Hey, we're releasing you, but we'd love to have you back on the practice squad tomorrow at noon. And sometimes you get a pretty good reaction there.
What kind of reaction did you get from Coach Montgomery, and how soon did you let him know Trey is signed?
Well, within seconds, I guess. I could see Trey roaming the building, so I knew something was going on. And, it's until it happens, you don't know. So I'd say within the minute, we probably all had communicated that to each other as Trey was in the locker room and we were all upstairs on the mezzanine.
Thank you.